shoe I have in my hand right here is probably the shoe that was the most anticipated for the last year or last couple of years even. I tried it, I tested it as hard as I could, and I have a verdict. Let's go into it. Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex, and today we have the very anticipated, expected, overdue maybe even review of the Cloudboom Echo 3. This shoe, which we've seen on many athletes, road runners, triathletes, custom versions in Kona last year on some triathletes even. You can purchase it on July the 6th, a few days after this review releases. Links are in the description to our retail partners. And without no further ado, let's dive into the review. First of all, let's look at the weight. And in my size US 11, EU 45, this shoe comes at 249 grams. It's on the heavier side for super shoes. The Vaporfly, for instance, is around 212 grams. The Adios Pro 3 is more in that ballpark, 255. This is definitely a heavier super shoe, which isn't a big issue, and this is still quite a lightweight shoes in the grand scheme of things. But among super shoes, meaning shoes with a carbon plate and a super foam, this one isn't the lightest. This shoe comes with a PBA midsole, so a last generation foam type of midsole. We'll come back to it in a second when discussing the midsole more in details. It has 39 or 40 millimeters of stack height in the heel, definitely maxing out or almost maxing out the World Athletics limit. And it comes with a 9.5 millimeters drop from heel to toe. Quite a different number from many super shoes. The Vaporfly has always been consistent in that 8 millimeters ballpark. Some other shoes are around 5 millimeters, for instance for the Rocket X2 that released this year. This one is a bit different. 9.5 millimeters is interesting as well to take advantage of the full length of the plate and try also to use a bit more that very efficient and natural gait cycle stride. Let's see if it works, but this is definitely something that stands out and makes this shoe a bit different compared to other super shoes. Let's go directly into the upper, and the upper, as you can see, is very unstructured, almost flimsy, if I can call it that. The material is very lightweight, which I really like, but I would love to see a bit more structure in the upper, especially here in the toe box. That unstructured material creates some creases and some wrinkles when lacing the shoes, which I don't necessarily enjoy. The tongue would require a bit more padding. It's a very lightly padded tongue, a bit too unpadded, if that makes sense. Same for the heel collar, heel counter, a bit more padding will be welcome here. If I had to choose between the two, I would give the padding to the tongue. That's where I would love to have a bit more of it. The laces are okay. They're really way too long, but the material is slightly grippy and they work quite well. As you can see, I had to go with the runner's knot, and that's because the shoe runs way too long. I would almost go half a size down if I hadn't used custom orthotics, custom insoles in the shoe. Without them, I would definitely go half a size down because of how long the shoe runs. Looking at the insole, it's removable, and it's interesting to look at it because it has a bit of glue on the outside to make it stick inside the shoe. But very interestingly, it also has those silicone bands here to help your foot stay in position, grip nicely inside the shoe. The On logo is also made of that silicone material, which is a nice touch, and the insole looks quite good. It's a very flimsy insole, and I would love to see brands come up with more efforts in the insole department, not just with those small adds-on, which are nice for sure, but also more, structurally with something that holds your foot a bit better, gives you more arch support, and adds an extra layer of cushion in the shoe. For some shoes, not necessarily racing shoes, but for some shoes. Looking at the midsole, we have a CloudTech midsole made of a PBA material and a full-length carbon fiber plate. It's a very good thing coming from the Cloudboom Echo, the second version of the Cloudboom Echo it was called, that wasn't PBA by any means, and you could feel it. This is much better, much softer, more compression, more decompression, energy return if you prefer. The carbon plate also does a much better job, and overall this is a very solid upgrade coming from the previous shoe, And just for that, I think this shoe deserves some consideration. How does it ride? The midsole provides you with a very energetic ride, a very competitive ride against other super shoes. It is much softer in the heel compared to the forefoot. The forefoot is quite aggressive with a very short but steep rocker here at the end, as you can see, propelling you quite aggressively to your toe of face. The midsole being softer in the heel is a good thing. It allows you really to take advantage of that 9.5 millimeters drop, striking slightly here, you know, towards the end of the midfoot section of the shoe will make you have a very nicely efficient stride. You will sink in nicely, and you will also have that very nice effect of the carbon fiber plates. Good job on here. I think this is a competitive ride. I think this is a ride that saves some energy and makes you consume less oxygen at a given pace compared to other shoes. And that's only for that I think it deserves to be in the two first tiers of shoes, of super shoes, tier 1 or tier 2. I made up my mind. I will give you the answer at the end of the video, which tier it falls in. But just for that, it puts it in the good tiers of super shoes. Looking at the outsole, there is some rubber here and there, mostly in the forefoot. What you will notice, and this shoe, keep in mind, has more than 150 kilometers. This is a long-term review. Is the wear on the outsole definitely something that you can see and that is a bit sad, I would say, almost. It doesn't affect the ride of the shoe, but definitely the durability of the shoe cannot be called any good because of that. It reminds me really of that first iteration of PBA that you had on the original Nike Vaporfly, even before the 4%. It's the type of PBA that crumbles, and at least that outer layer, falls apart. It's a bit sad just because it doesn't look good, but it also means that, the durability of the shoe long-term could be good on the right side of things, but maybe you will even lose some patches of outsole here and there. I saw some pictures on the internet where those patches of outsole of rubber in the heel fell apart. I don't really like it. On is trying to push for durability, sustainability, and this doesn't go in that direction. I think it's also, their first very competitive super shoe, and they are kind of allowed to make some mistakes, and this, in my opinion, is one of them. Especially looking at the price point of 300 euros, $300, $299. It's too much when you consider the wear and tear that this shoe has. It's already a shoe that some people could retire based on the wear and tear. I'm gonna keep using it because I think it's a very competitive shoe. I raced in it a half marathon and I used it for quite a few training sessions. I like the shoe. I think it's a tier 1 super shoe. That's the answer. It's one of the best super shoes out there. It would be even better if it was running more true to size, if the upper was a bit more structured, if the wear and tear on the outsole wasn't as bad after such a small mileage on the shoe, and if the price point was the same as the one of the Vaporfly. Fix that on and you have a banger. This is already a very good shoe, no doubt here, and this is my final assessment, if you will. But if On were to fix those small things here and there, they would have something much better. And last but not least, I have an open question for the end of the video, and that's regarding the timing of the release of this shoe. It's coming out, and at the same time, the new shoe that will supposedly replace this one, the On Cloud Tri, is already out on the feet of many athletes. I'm not breaking any secrets here. The Cloud Tri is an approved shoe on the list of approved shoes by World Athletics. It's not a prototype, it's not a development shoe. It's approved, so we are, allowed to discuss it. I don't really understand the timing and the cycles here. I think some frustration has been created with this shoe not being available for such a long period of time, and there was supply chain issues and so on. But now that it's out, the new one already floating around and circulating on the internet, I think it creates some confusion, and I believe this is something On could also work on, trying to have the cycles, the product cycles, maybe a bit more separated. But that's just an open question. Let me know what you think. Does it make sense to have the new iteration already out, already approved, out there, or does it not make sense? Would you rather have one shoe sticking for a longer period of time before seeing the next one and before hearing about the next one? I'm in between the two options, so I'm looking forward to reading you in the comments. July 6, 299 euros, $299. Let's, of course, link to the review of the On Cloudboom, the original Cloudboom Echo here. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, and go beyond your limits. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.